Hello, everybody, both my players and the people who are watching currently on our stream. And welcome to Wyrd and Wyld, session 59. No time to bleed. I'm Jaso, the DM. Who else is joining me this fine Friday evening?
Hey guys, I'm Bailey. I am playing Glace Allure. She is an androgynous Eidolon, College of Glamour Bard.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Luke. I am playing Aesop Kinku Alchemist.
What's up? My name is Kevin. I play Sun Kong, your apeling bionoid monk following the way of the abundant spirit.
My name's Slim. I'm playing Renkaz, a lizard folk fighter martial archetype of the gunslinger.
What's up? I'm Kyle. I play Fare Tomato. She's new.
That's not untrue.
She is new.
Hi everybody, I'm Nick. I play Enviti, the half-elf celestial warlock, Pact of the Tome, and I have the most phenomenal familiar of all time, a pseudo-dragon named Jira.
I know, Houdini looks pretty cool.
Houdini's dope as shit.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Fukuluk.
Totally should have went Archimedes.
Cat.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. As usual, the VIP Looney, thank you for stopping by. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Heroes Legacy ZF. Thank you, Lumber Gundam, VNK, Virgo Pros. It's really nice of you guys to pop in and check us out. And big thanks to everybody else who pops in at some point in the stream.
Yeah.
As you guys are watching, and if you decide to follow or maybe even sub up because it's September, you will get Wyrd bits, which is our loyalty points, and you can use them to buy cool stuff like all these little characters you see at the bottom of the screen, or other fun stuff like points to buy inspiration for the party, or give them Wyrd bits that they can use in the game for extra stuff on their ship, or exchanging it for cash. So cool stuff there. You can check out all those details under our Twitch to see how many you have and stuff like that. I also want to make sure and post the extension, as usual, for the fun stuff down at the bottom. So if you guys click that, if you're on your phones, you can click it and have a little controller for your character, because sometimes we have the little rift that moves across the screen that you can jump up and grab and do little fun character actions and stuff like that. We started a poll last week bringing back the undead category, and it just ended. It was between the zombie, ghost, and lich, and the ghost has won.
Woo!
So by next session, you guys will have the ability to use your Wyrd bit points or your loyalty points to get some cool ghosts to fly around in here at the bottom of the screen as you want to do. We had a little giveaway last session for a digital gift card, either via Steam or the DM's Guild, and no one whispered me. So, which is part of the reason I was trying to make it as easy as possible to incentivize people to put as small amount of work into it so that they could at least have a chance to win something fun. But that's okay. I think I may rejigger the rules and try to make it a little bit easier. Maybe I'll do it as like a Twitter post and just have people maybe whisper me through that. That way there's sort of like a constant place that they can go to see the question if they weren't here for the stream or missed it for whatever reason. So we'll see. So at the end of this month, it being a new month, I'll kind of further define those rules, and we'll go over it during the last week, and we'll try it again. I mean, we're growing, so that's expected. Inspiration, now that most of that stuff is out of the way.
Give it to me.
Gimme.
Most everyone requires inspiration. Slim. Rinkaz receives a envelope in his pocket, a letter. As he pulls it open, it simply reads "Lizard" on it. You gain an extra point of inspiration from T-Bird.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Well,
You have a
thank
wicked
you.
hangover too. Maybe.
Yeah, you may have had a hangover. That may have been a couple days back. He should be okay by now. But yeah,
An extra card or just an extra point?
a full extra card. So
Holy crap.
until you use either of them, you get to keep 2. So hold on to those. Everybody else looks like they grabbed one. If you have any cards that you feel like may be better suited to another player or want to trade, you're more than welcome to now.
Does anybody want tactical insight?
What does that do?
Sounds intriguing.
Tactical insight.
Gain advantage on your next roll if you have not taken your turn.
Why are you yelling?
Yeah, it's gigantic.
That's the one I actually have. So okay.
That's fine. Mine also changes initiative order, but it's a different one.
Did you shuffle these?
I just got a new one that I haven't seen before. Sabotage. Gain advantage on your d20 roll, or give a creature disadvantage on its next d20.
I'll trade you for another tactical advantage.
Sun Kong, you have disciplines? Is stunning
No,
fist
I
a
do not.
discipline? No. Mine.
I like my card anyway.
That's a fucking mystic thing.
I got lightning rush. My next attack, I gain 3d6 extra damage on a hit.
It's pretty good.
Or I can do immediately deal 1d12 lightning damage to a creature I can see. So they both good.
Just lightning eyes somebody.
And you just chug a bang energy drink and do a line of coke. Lightning rush!
We had some people fall during the Neo Gokyo storyline, but no one hit the ground. So this isn't really a retcon of the ruling here, but I am going to favor Luke's approach in that should a character fall 50 stories instead of taking 30 damage, there will be no cap to the damage. So
Yeah.
what is
That
it?
shit's fucking dumb. Oh, I fell 500 feet. I take 10d6 damage. Ooh, owie.
Hey, terminal velocity is a thing.
Actually, terminal velocity means that it's only going to go so fast before it hits the ground. Therefore, not everything craters when it hits, okay? Thanks.
It's still more than 10d6 damage.
No, actually, it's not, because gravity is science. And especially on Neo Gokyo, actually, science
how many-
matters.
How many hit points does Enviti have? I want to push him up off a skyscraper and test your theory.
Do you want with the temporary hit points or without?
Oh my god.
There you
Oh
go.
my god. I
Just
hate
put the
everything.
physics right there.
91.
When Enviti dies, please make a genius character that talks like that, so everybody.
Defender boy?
How-
I'll do
how-
Defender boy for you.
How Tizamy do you have to be to where I say I think you should probably take more than 15 damage from falling off of a cliff to be like, well, actually, terminal velocity says blah
My
blah
glasses are in the
blah.
other room. How
I
about
need some realness in my fantasy tabletop game, okay?
Do people survive falling out of planes? That's all I mean to say.
We could, instead of Enviti dying, we could retire him to the ship, and I could make a genius. And
Oh.
We should all just make really geeky geniuses when we all die.
Can we
That's all.
not? Can we just not do that campaign, please?
No, that'll happen. That'll
I mean,
be.
I already have my next character. She's not a
To be fair, I think none of them would have a strength higher than 12. Oh, wait.
What
That's
if
our
mine
party.
is a buff one?
all
Look,
the big Twixt theory.
the Twixt is right
Big-
for side stories that we may get into at some point. So,
It's just the Big Bang Theory. Bazoople.
Bazoopa.
Just a bunch of fucking genius. Oh my god. Fuck. Can we start
Yeah.
the game, Jason? I'm
We'll-
sorry.
We'll have to talk about this after stream, but yeah. In the meantime, so watch out for falling. Everybody, let's roll some die to see who wants to give the recap.
In your face, other Friday night show.
Oh, fuck me.
Hell yeah!
I love that Kyle's here.
Me too. Ooh!
I love that you're here too.
Oh no! Oh,
Roll off, roll off.
What's the definition of irony?
RD14. Off.
Better roll first, Kyle. Get that good luck. Oh,
Oh,
Roll.
Okay, we're just gonna do a boring D20 then.
Oh,
Smashed your face.
should have rolled the 420.
Should have.
Well, Kevin, specifically, or especially because Slim was not here last week, what happened last session?
good question. No, so we're traveling to Thornwood.
You left Neogokyo, headed towards Thornweald. That's correct.
Heading towards Thornwood. Along the way, a lot of stuff happened. Sun Kong had a vision while meditating in the meditation pool. He met someone in the monkin place. He met up with Chemo. Oddly enough, it seems Chemo, also being a monk, somehow not having a physical body, found his way into the monkin place. And when Kong woke up, he didn't remember it. But eventually, Roshi, the bionoid in the jewel in Kong's forehead, told him that this has happened 3 times, apparently, and Sun Kong has not remembered any of them. Let's see, what else? We had a drinking contest with, what's his face? Freaking Guy Fieri of the
Triple
ship,
D.
of the Twixt. Triple D, that's it.
He
And
who shall not be
Sun
named.
Kong won, of course, because I can hold my liquor.
Cheating.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sun
Aesop
Kong
was
cheated.
gone, Enviti was gone, everyone was just passed out.
Sun Kong and me cheated.
Yeah, because actually, maybe unbeknownst to everyone except Fa, Sun Kong cannot get drunk, and Fa was not drinking either, but so we won.
Quote unquote.
Let's see. Aesop did a lot of crafting for everybody. Fa crafted a mechanical owl.
And
Rink
Rink has fixed the bat.
Yeah, he fixed the bat.
Rink has fixed the bat.
Made a lot of bat puns throughout the rest of the night.
What's the
Rink
owl's
has
name?
made all the puns, just like always.
The owl was called Houdini.
Houdini. Yeah.
It should be Hoot Dini.
Alright, I'm gonna head out, y'all.
Let's see. I don't remember what else happened on the ship. We talked. Oh no, we talked to 21. We talked to X21, didn't we?
23.
23. I knew it wasn't 22. It was one
The
way
other
or the
direction.
other.
I don't blame you. There's between like 21 to 23. There's a lot of weird recurring
Could've been
characters
any of
with those
Yeah,
numbers.
2
totally,
22, so 21, 23.
totally unintentional when I wrote my backstory as well.
So we talked to him about stuff, things and stuff.
Some Twilight stuff, yes.
Yeah.
Twilight, yes. Let's see what else.
You guys spoke to the 10th pit.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. We went and got paid.
Oh yeah, and we were gonna stop and we were going to stop off and see them, or we did stop off.
You did.
We did.
Yeah, just briefly though.
Oh yeah, because we had to warn Fa about the zone of truth and all that fun stuff, all that jazz.
Enough
Which
to get
always fails, so I never speak.
a fat wad of cash. If you guys were divvying that up, do you remember how much Rinkaz would get from it?
I think it. Well, I was enough for me to pay. Let's see.
It was
I paid-
300 platinum.
Yeah.
300
That's
platinum.
right. It wasn't. Yeah, 300 platinum. We split. So we got what was it like 2,000 something each gold? If you wanted.
Shit,
Translated, it's 10 or 10 times as much gold, so that would be 3,000 gold apiece.
Hell yeah.
I'm not in debt anymore.
But
True.
I mean, that's interchangeable in my game, so don't worry that you're like, I only have platinum points. But just keep in mind that you also have platinum on your persons. I don't know why you would want to remember that, but I mean, just in case there came a point in time in the game where you had some way to potentially replicate the platinum material.
With that
Oh,
plant.
yeah, we
Or
planned
accidentally turn it into wood.
Or turn it into wood, yes.
Yeah, we planted the alchemy plant
Yeah, yep.
in the lab with Aesop.
And then you
Was
guys.
there anything else on the ship, or after that did we land?
That's a good concise amount of ship stuff. And you guys landed close to Thornweald, but realizing that there was too much bramble and thorns down below, much to its namesake, had to land in a nearby valley.
And yeah, we landed and we wound up meeting up with Kunk, I can't remember shit's names. I'm sorry. He's the one of the hippopotamus guys.
He's a griff.
Hunk.
Griff, yeah, one of the.
Or a gif.
Gif. I don't know if he's a patrol, but all the Gif are patrollers normally. So,
Glace, you guys realize as you exited the ship, Rinkaz, that the ship had become stuck as it closed in towards the ground for you guys to pop off of. Massive vines had erupted from the earth, some like tree trunk size and thickness, and had wrapped themselves around the ship, like 11 or 12. The last of which, as you guys teleported outside of the ship, came wrapping around, nearly hitting some of you as it was kind of finishing up its wrap around the ship horizontally. And some of you dodged. Glace and Enviti got smacked and fell down sort of like a bit of a muddy decline into a kind of mud bank down at the base, not too far away from where the ship is. But as they were sort of picking themselves up, Glace and Enviti heard a noise shifting through the shrubbery, and looking around after kind of pulling themselves from the mud, Glace sees exiting from the thick jungle forest a hippopotamus-like creature, a gif that looks very similar to Kunk. So as before this happens, Sun Kong isn't here, but thank you, Sun Kong. You find a weird bit in your pocket, or I'm sure you can probably still hear. Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
he's throwing it in the pot.
Back up to 21.
Nice.
Just to sort of explain a little bit of the surrounding here, Rink has to just kind of fill you in as much as possible in terms of the surroundings here. There is a thick jungle that surrounds this valley. It is overcast, and in actuality, along with a large jungle-like canopy above you, it is also raining pretty heavily. The overcast making visibility difficult. You have disadvantage on perception checks that rely on sight or hearing. As you see below you, sort of as you dodge underneath the last of this large vine whipping around, you realize that there are mud banks that are kind of spread around the area here. You didn't land in one here being next to the ship, but you do see now the ship is held down by these massive vines, and notice that Glace and Enviti took a bit of a tumble on the decline down a small hill into what looks like a mud bank. All areas around here have thick vegetation, and it looks like it would be difficult to probably just try to move through outside of any clearings that may be in this area. It's difficult to tell what time of day it is here on the... So you're not in Jadra. You're on the Celestial Cradle, which is this massive structure that sort of surrounds Jadra. And I will show you this picture here. So it is this right here. And as the characters landed yesterday, they got to see that on the surface of this large sort of a natural surrounding of the green sun of Jadra, that there is actually just miles and miles of vast wilderness that make up the cradle's surface. So you guys landed in a specific area that had a lot of dense jungle and vegetation. You guys can assume that it's probably twilight, moving towards probably night. Or I shouldn't say that because you have the constant light of the nearby green sun, but with the overcast here, it gives you the sense of a dark night. In terms of like smells and sounds, there's the stench of wet mud. You can hear the roar of rain in the jungle, and the occasional deafening peal of thunder. Glace, Enviti, you guys are both pulling yourselves up from this mud bank. Glace, you are none too pleased to see that although a large majority of it didn't get on you because of your gleaming outfit, your boots seem to be covered a little over ankle high as you kind of begin to pull yourself up a little bit. As you look up, stepping out from the brush, an old familiar face, Kunk, steps out. He is a Gif who you remember being relatively burly and rotund. He had some weight to him last time, even by Gif standards. He still has some relative bulk in the belly area. However, you do notice that he does actually have a decent amount of muscle on the arms. He actually has some shape to him.
Jacked.
He steps out, and you guys meet eyes. What is your reaction as he steps forward?
Kunk? You son of a bitch. And I'll extend my arm out to like grab his, and then I'll flex.
Seeing you, shoves his boots in the mud, and you two slap hands tightly. Make me an opposed strength athletics check.
Oh, hell yes! This is amazing!
Oh, I rolled kind of low. That's gonna be, what's my strength? Athletic. Oh, shit, Glace, that's an 18.
Holy
Hell yeah.
fuck.
Let's see here.
This counts as starting off strong.
As you grip his hand tightly, you can feel him with a bit of a wry grin to his hippo-like face as he's trying to apply some pressure to your fist. However, you do not allow this and push back, nearly pushing his hand over. He says, strong as ever, Glace.
They're both so sweaty.
And he helps to pull you out of the mud. Please make another strength athletics check, but with advantage, as he is giving a firm grip with which to pull you over to the side of the mud banks.
That's a natural 20.
Oh,
Oh,
my
shit.
fuck god.
You easily pop out of the mud, kicking off most of it from your boots, probably to your great pleasure. Enviti, as you are similarly seeing this happen, they're only a couple feet away from you as you guys kind of topple down into this mud bank. You can interact with them, or you can similarly make a strength athletics check to try and, as you now go to stand up, you begin to move your legs a bit and feel like there's a bit of a suction as the mud is sitting about a little over the ankle. Please make me a strength athletics check if you want to try to pull yourself out similarly.
Sure. I'm in awe of the size of these lads.
Yeah, you see a pretty rotund but somewhat sculpted hippo-like creature pulling Glace out. They seem to know each other.
15 strength check.
Okay, yeah, you're able to kind of taking one step at a time. You feel or hear the wet suction of the mud below your feet, but you're able to take one step, 2, 3, and walk over, stepping out of the mud bank. The rest of you guys that are up above see the two pulling themselves up, and you now notice, those of you who remember, a Gif-like creature looking very similar to Kunk, dressed up in what looks to be a camouflage-like armor. Probably some type of chainmail.
Old friend of yours.
Oh yes, he's
We've been in it with Kunk once or twice.
Oh, good. It's good to see a friendly face then.
He's a good man to have around.
What's up, buddy?
Kunk looks up to meet eyes with the rest of you. He seems to be shifting some type of perhaps food or chew in his mouth, and he says,
Good to see you all again. Some new faces I see.
Greetings, my name is Aesop. I'm an alchemist journeying with the Wild Knots.
Name's Konk, part of a mercenary group of other gift like myself. The strongest badasses around.
I can see.
I mean, maybe next,
Glossy, of course.
maybe next to us, and I wink.
Conk, you look great. What are you doing out in the jungle?
Thanks. More importantly, what are you guys doing here?
That's a good question.
Well, we did have a tip, didn't we, Rinkaz? Something related to your past here.
It's related to my past. I don't know why the hell it would be here. This is by far the worst planet we have been to yet. I would rather be in the sands or the streets.
Oh, come on, it's not that bad. It's
No.
it's lush. It's pleasant.
Where I come from, the dangerous place is the jungle. The only place you do not go is the jungle. You stay on the sands. You enjoy the edge of the forest when you do not go to the jungle.
Well, too late. We're here. May as well make the best of it.
And we're trapped. Look at that.
What brings you here, Kunk?
speaking of, before he answers, Glace, you look around and notice that the what do you carry your stuff in? Like, is it like a backpack or like a?
It'll probably, yeah, like a leather dyed pink backpack or something.
You notice as you have pulled yourself out of the mudbank that it sits close to the edge of the mudbank, the top open, and a couple of your belongings strewn out just a little bit from the fall.
No. I want to go over and put everything, or look for everything to put back in, especially the crystal communicator.
Okay. Give me a oh yeah. Give me a perception or history check to either look for your stuff or remember everything that you needed to make sure that nothing's missing.
Okay, I'll do a history, and I would like a good boy card from earlier, please.
I will give you one potentially in just a second.
Okay, that was gonna be a total of history 14.
Glace, you gather what things you can, trying to wipe off the mud. Looks like only a few things popped out. As you kind of pull open the top of this backpack or knapsack, the pink in color, you shift around and do not see the crystal communicator.
Oh no! I can't find it!
What happened, Glace?
The crystal communicator, I can't find it!
And so it begins.
Oh, don't worry, I'll just use subject 22 senses to... Oh, dear. Oh,
Wait,
no.
I mean, it's gotta be on the path. I mean, we'll have to backtrack.
No, I mean, everything else is here. I don't understand. Maybe... I start digging in the mud, which is very...
Yeah, it just fell out. We'll find it. We'll just have to look.
Do you think it got... Do you think it got snagged on that vine that knocked you down here?
I don't know. I mean, it could have.
Kunk, what's the deal with these vines? Are these naturally occurring, to your knowledge? They grow unusually fast.
His jaw shifts up and down, him shifting something in his mouth from one cheek to the other as he stares up at your ship.
Doesn't look familiar to me. There's some weird stuff about this jungle. This may be related.
I see.
What was there like? I look for like animal tracks, like something small, and I look in my backpack to make sure there's no animals in my backpack.
Make a perception check, but remember it is at disadvantage. Also, you do not get a good boy card.
I don't.
No.
Oh,
you don't.
okay.
Hmm.
Whoa. What am I rolling? Sorry, perception.
Yes.
A 9. That's with disadvantage.
You do not notice anything, and you do not get a good boy card,
Right.
but you did roll natural 20. Kunk peers up at your ship, seeing these massive vines wrapping around it, and simply says,
This valley, this place in particular, is part of the Celestial Cradle. We've had intel that tells us that it's pretty weird.
he says, and I need you to make a D10,000 roll.
Oh no! Fucking I even forgot that was a thing.
Do we not get usually? Oh, is that the
No.
weird rules? Or
Yep.
okay, I started. I was like, oh no. Okay.
Wait. Has Kyle never?
No, what is happening right now?
Oh boy, do
I
we
feel
have...
like I'm gonna like it, but I don't. I would like to know. What it is.
So imagine the wild magic table for
I love it already.
a
Yes.
sorcerer, but it's a D10,000, and anytime you roll a 20, something
one.
bad happens.
Or one.
Or one. I lost my lips. We gurgled water for 20 minutes. I found randomly 7 shotgun shells, specifically shotgun shells, inside of my pocket.
Aesop
Was it because
thought he could raise
it
the
because-
dead for an hour.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So this wild area supersedes the critical fails.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
That's where we
Yes.
got little elephants before.
that's where we got our elephants?
And the dust bunnies.
Yeah.
They're so cute. Is
So-
the Wyrd what made Glace a goblin that one
Oh no,
time?
that was the nasty skirt.
That was the sludge. I couldn't remember which one it was.
98-28.
What's the damage, Jason? What's gonna happen? Oh god, I hate
Everyone
this.
has eight.
Who here has the who here has the highest passive perception?
Oh no!
I think it's me.
13 right here.
Oh wow, I suck dick at perception now.
My,
No.
my passive perception's 17.
Fa, what was yours?
Oh,
I
it's
guess
Fa.
it's me.
Fa.
18. God damn it.
The weird rookie.
Passive perception only gets me in trouble.
Fa, you see a large tree branch nearby from one of the jungle palms crawling across it. What looks like some type of small chameleon. You watch as the chameleon is using its, it's got the 2 hands separated out with the 2 fingers like a crab, and it's kind of pulling across the leaf. It stops, and you watch as its body convulses. There is a discoloration in its form. Its eyes going from a deep yellow to a just discolored, empty white.
Oh god.
It shifts its head back and forth in what seems to be an unnatural state now, and turns around and begins shifting back the other way.
Ugh. Oh, look at that. You guys, look at that. Oh.
What?
Did we just blind a chameleon?
What is happening?
Can, make an investigation check, see what's going on
Yeah,
with it.
yeah. Any checks you guys want to make?
Ugh, look at it. Ugh, I clicked something, I don't know what. Oh, I turned over to the 3D dice. 10 plus, what, investigation 18.
I want to do nature.
Okay.
I rolled a 2 for nature.
Stand back. That's an unnatural 20. No, sorry, a 23.
Nice.
Aesop, Glace, that was your total 13?
Yeah.
Aesop and Glace, you get the sense studying this nearby chameleon that somehow it has turned into an undead state.
Oh!
Whoa.
Fa, you with your investigation get the sense that it was from some strange magical effect that probably affected it.
Oh, Fa, we're in the weird, and that is bad news for us.
Things randomly happen. It's most of the times Rincon and Sun Kong for some reason, but man, I don't like the weird.
Is it all weird?
Oh yes.
Wow.
It's very aptly named.
It's wild.
Really hit the nose, hit it right on the nose, you two. Just... I jump down into the mud and start digging around to make a survival check. It's got to be here somewhere. It couldn't have just gotten up and walked away.
Perception check as well.
Is that a fair assumption that I can make a survival check, Jason? Or
Yeah, you guys can make checks to see if you can figure out where the crystal communicator went.
I would like to do a survival as well.
It's a 14 for me.
I pull out my flask, take a drink, and say, "The word planet we have been to yet."
24 survival.
Oh, come on, it's not that bad, Rinkaz.
It's much better than the sand.
Exactly.
That's a natural 1 on survival.
Hey, doesn't that trigger the wild again?
This is gonna get weird.
And
Planet.
Aesop and Sun Kong, you guys both sort of pop down and shake a hand with Kunk, and begin sort of digging in the mud nearby where Glace dropped her pack. As you are trying to figure out what exactly happened, I need you, Rinkaz, to please make a D10,000 roll.
Nothing bad could ever happen.
You said 10,000?
D10,000, yeah.
$7,258.
You gain 3 extra hearts, 2 of them stop.
Do you guys have rec out?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
I'll just pull rec out. Behind you, Rinkaz. There you go, buddy.
This isn't like a crazy mission, like top secret, like. So I'm assuming we're gonna have a rec on for everything.
Yeah,
Unless
it's
we
just
say-
personal. It's not secret.
I'm in hell.
7250. Okay, hang on just a second here.
This is it.
Your teeth are made of jello.
Your teeth turn into candy corn.
Oh God.
I know everything.
As you guys, those of you, so Aesop and Sun Kong, you guys are kind of digging through the mud trying to figure out what's going on, where this crystal communicator went. Glace, you're kind of watching as they do that. Enviti and Fa,
Oh no.
you are looking at those three, and also notice out of the corner of your eye, Rinkaz, he is now standing watching them completely naked.
Buzz slaps both of her hands over her mouth.
Hey,
I'm looking at the mud. I haven't noticed yet.
Rinkaz, it's hot out here, but, it's not that hot.
Yeah.
I go to reach for my guns and my flask.
You go to reach, Rinkaz, you feel them, but as you look down, you see that although your hand is clearly gripping your stuff, and you even feel the texture of your clothing, you notice that you just can't see them.
Oh my! I've never seen a lizard folk naked before. Rec, zoom in on this.
Oh, we're gonna get banned from
What's
from
going on?
the.
Whoa! Cat! Whoa!
I start flexing in front of the camera.
What is happening? Literally, what is actually happening?
Aesop, Sun Kong, this is some strangeness. You guys try to avert your eyes. With your checks, you notice now, you actually see at the edge of this mud bank what look like some type of tracks leading away from the open path into the jungle brush.
God.
Well,
Oh!
You're unsure of what creature they may belong to, though, without a check.
Can I make a nature check on the? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Sun Kong.
no, I was just gonna, if we could all just avert our eyes for a moment, I think we found tracks.
Accept and embrace it. Look for the. It should be glowing. The crystal communicator.
Sure.
Yes, that'd be
I
bad
think
news.
something swiped it, Glace.
Please make as many checks as you would like.
Oh, fuck you, Jason.
Is there anything?
There's these tracks leading away from where you fell.
Wait, nothing has been here though. I want to look.
Well, maybe it snuck by when you weren't looking.
No. I want to look to see if there's anything like camouflage, like blending in, like the chameleon, for instance. I want to see if there's something hiding.
Sure. Just remember, it's pretty dark here with the overcast. It's a disadvantage for perception checks.
Okay.
What's the big deal?
I rolled a 1.
Oh
That's not an
my
advantage.
god!
I guess I'll go ahead and roll. Okay, well it doesn't matter because it's a 1.
I take the lower roll, which is the natty 1. Plus you realize the crystal communicator's gone. You're freaking out a bit knowing you're in the weird. So to calm you, give me a D10,000 roll.
We gotta get the fuck out of here.
This is
Oh,
great.
Just
you
landed.
haven't even been here for like.
This is fucking
5
excellent.
minutes.
Hold my rifle and nobody can see it, and I shoot myself. Am I really dead?
Is that real?
The hole in your head says yes.
2,568.
2,568.
Yeah. What's an F, man?
I love it. I fucking love every minute of it.
I love chaos.
I usually like watching other people roll. Like.
Welcome to the
Pork Glace. Pork Glace.
Glace, you are looking down, fishing a hand through your pack. You notice, strangely, both of your boots disappear for just a second and reappear on your feet, although there's a weird sensation. You realize that they switched feet.
Hold please. Hold on. Wait, everybody. I gotta fix my shoes.
Wardrobe malfunction.
Oh, come on, it's just a little mud. Nothing to get
No,
worried
no,
about.
I like put my legs up to show Aesop where my boots are pointing.
You put your boots on backwards.
No, honey, it just happened.
What the hell is going on here?
I want to get out of here.
Hold on, let me make a check on these tracks. I'm sure it'll tell us what is wrong. Oh god, it's so close.
Holy fuck.
It's a 10 on nature to identify the tracks.
It looks like a smaller creature probably took this, Aesop. Something of smaller size, though the exact species of creature you're unsure with a 10.
I'd like to take a survival check
To do what?
to discern the direction and/or what I might think it would be.
Okay, sure.
Oh!
This
Last
is
save
one.
recon! Last
This
save
is
recon this time! That's
amazing.
it.
This is amazing.
This is so good.
Shoes.
Roll 20 is the dev team is watching us.
And you get a bad boy card.
Well, there is no good boy or bad boy cards.
Oh,
The weird supersedes it all. You are unsure, Rinkaz, but as you peer at the tracks, unable to make left or right of it, please roll me a D10,000.
Recon's get away from me. I think it's contagious. Whatever's happening to you is happening to me. Whatever. I don't
Aesop,
like it.
a naked Rinkaz steps up to you and studies the tracks next to you.
I'd like to hover really close over him since he's shorter, like just kind of like lurch over him.
What is that, 1882?
Mm-hmm.
1880.
Is it cold in here, or is it just me?
Well, I mean, you're still. So, is he technically wearing clothes? We just can't see them?
As far as you can tell, Rinkaz, you're wearing your stuff. You just can't see it. Both your clothes and your gear, including your weapons and whatever stuff you brought with you, is completely invisible.
I just forgot to dress before we came out here, guys.
I'm not here to judge you, Rinkaz. This is perfectly fine. This is your thing. If you feel you need to be naked for it, that's none of my business.
I hate this planet.
Also, Rinkaz, as you say that, there is a sensation that fills your mind, and you have the agency to play this out however you like.
Oh no.
You feel as though,
Oh no.
despite the avoidance of wanting to come here in the back of your mind, you now feel as though if you complete this quest and find this general who held you as a slave, and get some type of revenge or whatever you want to do with them and complete this to close this chapter of your life, you will become a literal god.
Yeah. This is amazing.
I've been sent here. This is a pilgrimage. It is a trial.
What?
Should I finish this,
How?
my bounty hunter training will be complete.
Finish the flask?
See,
Wait,
I
what?
knew there was a reason we came here.
I
That's
grab
the
Rek and
spirit.
stare into it deeply.
Oh no.
All of you that ever followed me, learn from my teachings now.
Your teachings.
Because what's in the flask? What's?
There's nothing in the flask but freedom, virtue.
God.
I promise you. I will
This
ascend.
naked lizard folk.
Yeah,
They have
he's
stripped me
gone,
of my clothes.
he's gone full apocalypse now. Holy shit. All right, let's. Maybe we should follow the tracks, everyone.
Yeah, I think we should
Can
get moving.
Can Jira kind of track the tracks?
That would be like a.
Follow them a little bit.
What kind of. What,
I'll make a perception check on it. Oh no, it's disadvantage. How terrible.
I hate you, Kyle.
She's inside.
I don't see it. What does it say? Oh, 6 and 16.
They need to
24 I'll be.
more
Perception to
times.
see which way they were going.
Even with disadvantage?
Oh, right, disadvantage. That's the other one. So 18.
Okay. You can certainly tell that the tracks lead off into the thick of the jungle, sort of at the edge of the mudbank over here to the side. You feel as though you could probably continue making your way into the thickness of the jungle brush, but you now see as you step up closer that it is full of thick, sharp, thorny
Brambles.
vines. Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like they do any real damage to you, but it does feel like it would probably be very irritating, probably cut you across certain places, and you feel like it would be very slow to move through here at your size.
I don't want to go that way, but it went that way.
I can set them on fire.
Kunk,
Yeah.
Kunk says,
So, you guys, you're here on a special mission, is it?
Pilgrimage.
Oh.
You could say that, but
Yes.
we gotta get moving. We can't let these people, whatever this thing is, who took our communicator. We need to find this.
Yes, that is priority number one.
Yeah, we really. This is important.
I
You can
have-
come with us if you want, Kung.
Well,
You know,
look,
we're always fun.
I've been sent here down with a couple other, a special elite group of gift like myself. We're looking for an ambassador of this area. She's very important to these parts, and we believe that the Scroll from the Dark Shrine are after her. We actually had a bit of an excursion with them up above in one of the villages. I got separated from the group during the attack. I was hoping to meet up with them. Hoping you guys would come with me now that I've run into you.
Is it a laundry?
Yes, actually.
Oh!
I want to pull everybody aside and say, I believe that the tin pit is looking for her.
Oh, yes, that's right. I believe I remember that as well. We have so many things to do now.
Ilana, yeah. Good.
Well, if the
But we do
squirrel-
need to find. I mean, we'll definitely come with you, Kung, but we need to find our communicator.
Speaking of which, I used my bejeweled phone from Neo Gokyo to call Kui, tell her that we kind of accidentally lost and it got taken away. That the crystal communicator is.
You use your phone to call Kui, but then realize that the phone does not work across different planes.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
it's the
And the
separate.
ship is a different plane.
Yeah, fuck.
Kunk says,
Well, I mean, you're welcome to come with me, and we could wait out this rain. I'd probably make visibility a much better option for you guys. Your ship here must shift over the clearing,
he says, pointing up, and you guys can see that the size of your ship does push through the canopy up above.
It'd probably be easy finding our way back if we needed to.
True, it's just, I don't know, I'm worried if something has it, I don't want to lose its tracks.
Yeah, what if it gets eaten? Oh, and the rain.
Who know, it could, anything could happen.
We mustn't waste time. The sacred path is before us.
Oh my goodness! This
How-
naked lizard man.
I mean, I guess we don't have to, but I mean, I really feel we should go after the communicator now.
I agree. If we wait too long, the rain will wash the tracks away.
The tracks, yeah.
I will be your guide.
Maybe we should split up.
No.
You guys are happy to do that, but I gotta regroup with my team.
Oh.
I gotta make my way back north.
Oh.
Well, maybe we'll run into you a little later then.
Alright, that sounds pretty good. You guys take care of yourselves.
Just
Is
in
there-
case.
A way we could find you, or
Yeah.
Do you have like a base? Or?
There's kind of a winding path that we've made our way through the brush here using these.
He kind of pulls a machete out of its sheath, showing it to you guys.
It makes a bit of a clearing, a trail leading up north to a small bay next to a larger lake.
bay next to a lake. Got it.
We can
If
find
I'm
it.
able to find the others, we'll try and set up camp somewhere near there. And hopefully we can regroup.
And I can pull out my Chaos Blade, and I can get through the stuff. Don't worry. Wield it
Could
in
I-
front of me.
Could I take a perception check on Kunk to see if what kind of gear he has?
Sure. It's a disadvantage, just remember.
Disadvantage.
Also, my sword cane can deal slashing damage and fire, so it does like slashing fire damage.
Perfect.
So I can help Sun Kong clear the way.
Kunk
14?
looks like he is equipped with a large, like one of those like vertical backpacks full of stuff. It looks like he has at one side a machete in a sheath. On his form, you can see a large amount of sort of like natural camouflage smeared over to give him the green texture of the jungle to blend in a little bit. Underneath, you can tell, underneath some of the larger leaves and stuff, you can see he's adorned with a chainmail. On his other side, you notice what looks like a relatively well-crafted crossbow. He also has a bit of sort of face war paint that he seems to have adorned himself with, and wears a hard-looking cap on top of his head in a greenish hue.
It's not war paint, that's just smeared Twinkies.
Little Debbie's.
I ask him, you wouldn't by happen to have any gift goodbye grenades, would you? And I'd like to take a persuasion check and say, in case we're out there and I have to use one, it'd be probably pretty good. You might hear it.
Make a perception check, or a persuasion check.
At disadvantage.
No, it's a straight roll.
14.
He shifts something around his mouth.
Not on me, sorry.
Alright. It is
Alright,
okay,
then.
Prophet.
You guys watch yourselves out here. I'm gonna join the rest of the group. We're on a tight schedule.
You be careful as well.
There was a previous group from the pioneers. They're the ones who paid us to come out here. They sent an initial group out this way but lost contact with them. If you see any of them, let them know that we're here. We know the area a little bit better than the patrollers do.
The bay by the lake. Got it.
Yeah. Alright. Alright.
He shifts through the jungle brush, shifting away.
Did you just call him a prophet, Rinkaz?
I pull out the paper that we had, the information that we were initially given, the stuff that I wrote down, and I said, the sacred texts speak nothing of another
Yes.
Sacred.
Where did that paper come from?
That was
What? Oh, yes. For the trial, I must be bare bones, so to speak. Come, let us venture forward.
Trial?
I think he's drunk.
Hold on. Rinkaz, come here. Let me see your eyes. I'm gonna make a medicine check on it.
Sure.
one or too many hits off
That's a 21. Is he like diseased or does he have a fever?
You notice no ailments from his body. He looks totally fine.
Oh, that's somehow
Other than
worse.
completely nude. Although as you do sort of just lightly run your hands across like his chest and stuff, you can feel like he's still clothed. You just can't see it.
Okay, yes, this is a weird place. Let's get going.
Should we make another survival to follow the tracks? First one good enough? Or
Yeah, me and Sun Kong are in the front with our blades. Yeah.
Alright, you guys want to start hacking through the jungle brush to try and follow the tracks?
Yes.
Alright. You guys, pulling out your slashing weapons, begin hacking through the jungle thicket. There is a large amount of bramble here. You kind of feel it rake across your legs. It doesn't do any actual damage, but you do feel the occasional cut. Nothing to really draw blood, but it certainly leaves a little bit of a couple marks on your legs as you guys cut through. You notice that your speed is greatly lowered as you try to work your way through the thick jungle brush here. Make me a survival check as you do.
Is it like all of us?
Sun Kong and Aesop, as you guys are kind of making headway cutting through yourselves.
Oh my!
It's gonna get weird. Really weird.
The worst planet ever.
I fucking love this. This
Is this real
This
life?
is great.
this is my favorite session.
Is this real life right now?
I mean, we roll bad normally, but never like this.
Fucking Christ!
See, Twitch knows it's September. He just took all the funds and paid it to Roll20 and was like, Roll20, you want some good entertainment? Here you
Okay,
go.
well, at least...
Before I tell you either of your results, let's first discern what happens from both of you rolling a D10,000.
It's like Aesop finds the perfect
What?
Oh, 22! Oh,
22?
it gives me shivers! It gives me
What?
shivers!
Alright, Jason, what's happening?
Okay, let's see. For just a straight 22.
Wow.
A large beast steps out of the jungle. The 22 stands before you.
You stupid prickly vines!
Oh, this is awesome.
I hate this.
You can stop hacking it now.
It's creepy how that worked.
Die.
Insane.
What is your roll, Sun Kong?
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you wanted to
Yeah, I just want to see if these interact with one another. Otherwise, I'll resolve them separately. 38,
26.
What if they were both 22?
That's funny.
A giant insect monster steps out.
Oh god.
Sun Kong, nothing particularly seems to happen from your check. Aesop, you feel as though, let me take a look here. You feel as though you are making good headway with these tracks, and as both of you, you and Sun Kong, are just kind of almost shoulder to shoulder, just cutting through the brush here. Make a D100 roll, please.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
22. 22.
If it's another 22. 29, I saw it too.
Wow.
Heart skipped a beat there.
Sun Kong, Aesop, you guys feel a sudden shift and now where you were once standing on a somewhat slushed terrain from the wet downpour, there is all of a sudden a sizable pit around you that drops 30 feet. Please make a dexterity saving throw, please.
What about that fall, though? What about those fall damage?
You know, I've rethought my stance on fall damage. I think. Oh my god.
Yes. Wait, no, he's probably good.
Mine's an 18.
That's a 10.
Aesop, you're falling too?
Yes!
Okay, I used my reaction to cast Featherfall.
Oh, no, I mean, if it's far enough, I can just fly. I have wings!
Oh, yeah.
Well, I already reacted.
You see Aesop and Sun Kong quickly begin to tumble in what looks like a huge hole in the ground, probably some 25-30 feet in kind of the center width. As they begin to tumble, Fa, you quickly throw a hand, casting Featherfall. Aesop, you begin to tumble, but begin to fall lightly, sensing that you had some magic casted on you. Sun Kong, you begin to tumble, but quickly flip in the air, shifting your body, and quickly grab onto a muddy edge, and are able to throw a hand out to Aesop as he slowly descends, and grab him by the claw, and you guys both pull yourselves up out of this large hole that has formed out of nowhere.
Well, this place is actually dreadful. Rinkaz was right.
Oh, yes. How can one ascend if one does not fall?
Oh, this place is exciting for a lot of reasons.
Am I hallucinating? Am I...
No, I hear it too. He's...
Okay.
Is everything okay, Sun Kong? You hear Ukog say from the clearing where everyone else is.
Yeah, I'm okay. It's just this place. Hey.
As you
moving, be careful. There is a 30-foot wide pit.
As you, Sun Kong, and Aesop pull yourselves out of this hole, you pull yourselves up and look back, seeing the tracks that are now practically gone from the muddied rain, lead into this pit, and following where the trail would go afterwards, see nothing.
No!
What?
The pit. No.
The tracks
the pit. The pit killed the tracks.
Oh. Well,
Can you see the... It's not like a bottomless pit, right? We can see the bottom of it.
Yeah, you can, it's like only 30 foot down, so you can see that it almost looks like the surface just dropped 30 feet. And it's beginning to collect a little bit of water from the downpour.
Well...
Do you think this is like a trap built by whatever took the communicator?
I don't know.
It is a trial.
Fuck.
Can we get fan art of a naked Rinkaz saying all this weird shit?
Careful. All the stoicisms, yeah.
Maybe if we're quick enough, we can catch up with Kunk.
Naked and afraid.
I mean, we could be wandering in this jungle for fucking days looking for this.
okay. Yes. Let's go fight Conk if we lost track. Let's go.
I guess. Oh, fuck.
You guys regroup. You had spent maybe 5-6 minutes trying to cut through the brush, returning to the rest of the group. You guys, without needing to make checks, are at least able to follow the path where Kunk originally headed out towards, and you can see where there does seem to be a trail. You can see brush that has been cut and hacked away by what looks like some type of slashing weapon, forming somewhat of a clearing as it continues on this path away from the ship. You guys want to begin heading that way?
I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like that.
All right. You guys begin heading north, or just beginning to place some compass points north away from your ship up this path clearing. You begin traveling. 5 minutes pass by. 10 minutes all staying together and trying not to cause too much trouble as you move along through the thickness of the canopy itself. As you are shifting through under the canopy, Fa, Brinkaz, you guys notice as a flash of lightning crackles through the distance, giving the area a brief moment of light, that you see a horrid sight from the gloom. You notice what look to be the corpses of what look like 3 humanoids hanging upside down from a nearby tree.
Oh.
What the fuck is
Pull
this
my
kind of
rifle and put my light on and point it at it.
Oh boy, yeah.
What
This is spooky.
You turn your light on from your rifle, pointing it up that way. As it shines brightly on them, you notice that their gear, the way that it is got a little bit of bronze within it, worked in with a greenish and browns, it looks to be gear that reminds you of the Pioneer Patrollers. You also notice that 2 of them have pointy ears reminding you of elves.
Oh no.
What kind of condition are those corpses in?
You taking a look now at visibility better in VD with a light on them from Rinkaz's weapon can see that their flesh is desiccated. Their limbs look to be bound by thick vines. They look like they've been long dead, but their armor and clothing don't seem to be tarnished by age.
Do the corpses have mouths?
Oh, okay. Not what I was expecting.
You are able to see with the light shine on them from Rinkaz that, yes, they seem to have mouths.
May I, at will, Eldritch Invocation, speak with dead, please?
Daddy.
Consult with the previous who have walked the path.
What the fuck is happening?
I swear there was
Because you're
something
on
in
a
that
roll.
glass.
I'm loving whatever this planet's doing to you.
There
Yes.
looks to be Enviti hanging up, now that the light has given you some sight on them, a human and what look to be either 2 elves or perhaps half-elves. They look like long dead husks at this point. Which one did you want to cast this on?
Are there any markings on the clothing indicating one has rank over the other?
You peer across. You do see some adornment on the 3, denoting some type of rank as given by the patrollers. However, they each wear the same amount of adornments.
We'll try the most elf-looking one.
Yeah, try the elves. They got the best senses.
You throw a hand up. What does it look like as you cast Speak with Dead? You need to be... how close do you have to be?
It says it is a action. It doesn't have a range on. 10 feet. 10 feet. 10 feet.
You feel as though that this is a good opportunity for this spell. However, you do notice that the hanging corpses from this tree are about 20 to 25 feet up from where you currently are.
Oh,
Rinkaz,
well,
you think you could shoot the rope?
I mean, I could just fly up and cut one.
Or that?
I fly up and I try to cut one and drop it to the ground.
Oh, catch it with... Oh,
You fly up Aesop, working your sword cane, I'm assuming, into what you now see to be not ropes, but vines that are hanging them from the tree branches.
Ew, gross.
Make a investigation check as you kind of fly up around this area.
Oh, I'm good at this now. That is going to be a 19.
As you begin to throw your wings out and throw yourself up into the air, taking a look around the area as well as close nearby where they're hanging, you notice that the surrounding overgrowth seems oddly disturbed. Every leaf, every stalk seems to bend towards the corpses as though they were grasping for them.
Oh, no.
You, before fully cutting the vine, just kind of taking a look as you fly up closer to them, notice that they are adorned in the pins and adornment that would describe the rank of a pioneer patroller that you've seen before on their ships. You notice that their bodies look to be drained of moisture, and they bear ragged puncture wounds. They are wearing backpacks and seem to have some gear on them. One of them looks to be wearing a relatively decent set of chainmail armor. At this point, you begin working your sword cane into the vine, and it begins to cut one of the more elf-like looking corpses down. As they drop, there is a sickening thud as their body smacks into the floor down below.
No, I was going to catch him with Featherfall.
Oh, you throw a hand with Featherfall, and the corpse slowly descends, kind of touching the ground in a slightly more light manner as the back first touches, and then the legs and head just land onto the ground. Aesop, make a perception check before you fly back down.
Oh.
With disadvantage.
Oh, Jason, why? That's a 5.
Okay. You kind of just watch the corpse as it begins to fall, waiting for it to smash into the ground and see that Fall casts Featherfall.
Alright, then I fly down.
Okay.
I gotta say, that's the first time I've ever used that spell to do that.
Hopefully it won't be the last.
Wait.
Oh no.
In Enviti, there's a dead corpse nearby.
Okay. Now I'd like to speak with him.
You kneel down, holding a hand over the desiccated corpse. Your palm glows with a bright glow. You hear Jira. The hollow, gaunt mouth of this husk of an elf slowly opens. There is a old and very wild smell that exudes out of their mouth. It appears as though you could attempt to communicate with them.
Oh my God.
How many of you came to this planet?
Let me just see here. Ask the corpse up to 5 questions. Yada, yada, yada. Can you speak Elven, Enviti?
I can.
Oh, yeah, you're a half elf.
In Elven, you hear
Huh.
Were you all together when this happened? What was your mission here?
Find Ambassador.
Ambassador?
You watch Enviti as this answers there's a lot of muscled movement when a normal humanoid speaks, but this, when you notice the unnatural nature of the spell, its jaw just kind of moves almost like puppetry, but you can still hear relatively concise words in Elvish.
Kind of want to look back at the group and say, says there were 4 of them looking for the ambassador. Didn't you guys say there were only 3?
Well, one of them might still be alive.
I'll
Maybe
turn back to the corpse. Where is your base?
All right. Should we ask how they died?
Yes.
I have a hunch. It seems like it may be crazy, but these might be carnivorous plants.
Okay.
But
yeah.
Ask.
For my last questions. What caused this to happen to you?
Yes. That would be the plants. Well, can't let our guard down then.
You notice as it finishes saying this, there's a long, wispy breath, and the jaw closes back.
Oh, the jungle, huh?
Yes, it seemed to have drained their blood. All of the vegetation was sort of congregated to them in the trees, as if it was trying to move to them like a flower moves towards the sun.
Oh, so can we not be in this area where they died and caught up?
I think that's a great idea. I think we should continue onward.
Yes. The winged warrior ascended to the heavens,
Oh,
removing the guides from the grasp of the vines.
buddy, pal, friend, Rinkaz.
Yes.
I'm gonna need you to hang together. Let's please, let's be chill, all right?
But the Scholar of Light has communed with the dead. Our path is clear. We must continue to the
Scholar of
large.
Light.
Is anybody writing this down?
No.
Oh, it's on rec.
We
Can I
must
kind
meet
of?
with the prophet.
Oh yes, the prophet. Right. He means Kunk. We should keep moving.
I mean, yeah.
Onward. Fall starts to leave.
Let's go.
Me and Aesop start. Well, I guess we're not hacking. We're just following the path.
Yeah, we don't. I got my weapon at the ready in case.
Me too. Yeah.
Can I quickly kind of put the corpse in some sort of respectable kind of arms crossed
Oh,
pose?
Sure. Make a perception check with disadvantage as you are just putting the arms up.
Katie's turn.
Dice.
It's a dick.
What dice?
That'd be a 15.
You notice the occasional, very slight drip of blood falling from above.
Oh my
kind
God.
of pattering, sometimes on the legs of the corpse, sometimes to the side in the muddy earth next to it as you just kind of put the arms back up. The occasional drop.
Yes, soon I will be able to watch over you.
What?
You heard him, Glace.
I
Lord
definitely.
of the jungle will watch over all.
Not the jungle, me. I.
Oh, you ruined it.
I don't want to touch it, but I want to let Aesop know. I think there's something bleeding above us. We probably need to go.
What?
Probably a good idea. Let's move.
I want to look up.
Why? That's the thing that always happens before someone dies in a horror movie.
Let's say would look up.
Make a perception check with disadvantage as you
More
kind of.
dice. Yes.
Oh, I get a one again.
Yes.
I wish I were dead.
Roll a d10,000, please. You look up, seeing that where it seems to be coming from, where this corpse fell, was kind of directly underneath the two other hanging ones. You begin to assume that it was probably coming from them, but it's so difficult to tell as you roll a d10,000.
6,534.
Thank you. 6,534. Holy shit.
Celestial Star voice, what do you see?
What the hell, man?
Glace, there is just something about the very occasional trickle of blood that disgusts you. You vomit messily around the area.
It's like projectile where I look up and I just fucking vomit.
Oh God, Glace, are you all right? Have you been bitten by something?
I like turn Rec the other way. I like flick him the other way.
Aesop slowly turns Rec back around as soon as she.
And Fa helps.
Well, gosh, I just got to make a medicine check to make sure she's all right. All right, I'm kind of getting the idea at this point. That's a 19.
You from your diagnosis, it doesn't seem as though there's anything particularly wrong with her.
Okay, all right. Let's stiff up a lip, Glace. Let's keep moving.
But
Not everyone has the fortitude, even though.
Well, we can't stay here.
Yeah, no, let's keep moving.
A plague is upon us.
A plague is upon us, he says.
I mean, he might not be wrong. Who knows?
These are normal things that normal people say all the time.
It's just
You
normal.
guys-
Everything's fine.
You guys want to continue traveling down the
Yes,
path?
please.
Okay. You guys continue down the path. You travel for another 5 or so minutes. At this point, after a bit of walking and a little bit of time passing, up ahead you can hear the sound of what sounds like hacking into what sounds like the jungle brush coming from up ahead.
It's
a
good
hacking?
sign.
Something seems to be cutting through the jungle.
Can I like scout ahead silently in case it's
Sure.
it's not a patroller?
You with throw out of both wings, kicking into the air a bit, still staying underneath the canopy, but just getting some elevation to kind of move through the area here. Work your way through the relatively cut path. And moving a bit ahead of the group, just gaining a little bit of ground so you can scout ahead, moving silently through the air. In the distance, you see what looks like Kunk cutting through what's left of the brush. You can see where Kunk is cutting to. The area begins to open a bit to a bit of a larger open area than the jungle surrounding you here.
Perfect. All right. I gather everyone up and have us move back to Kunk.
Okay.
yay!
You guys begin moving along. As you make your way, you guys watch as Kunk grabs at his hip at his crossbow and turns quickly with a machete in hand.
Oh, it's you guys.
Of course.
Did you find what you were looking for back there?
Fortunately not.
Unfortunately, no.
But I'll tell you what we did find. We found these 2 elves, and the other one was a human, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a human. They were just kind of like,
Strung up.
I saw the same thing.
high strung, as Cock says.
That's part of the first group that was sent here to find the ambassador. Something must have got to him before we did. Probably the Doctrine.
I actually don't think that's the case. We performed a spell on them, and Enviti did here, and it seemed they think the jungle itself attacked them, and when I went to get a closer look, all of the plants had sort of gathered around them as if it was trying to drain them of blood or something.
The jungle itself?
He says, kind of pointing his machete at the plants surrounding everybody.
Well, not every plant in the jungle, but, you know, there are such a thing as carnivorous plants.
He said the jungle, Kunk. The dead man said the jungle.
Some plants killed the patrollers? Bah. They're a pretty crack team. well-worn soldiers, the patrollers. A space fare across the galaxy, making their way to dangerous places. I doubt some plants did them in.
Well, it would be the perfect way for someone to get the better of them. I mean, who keeps the guard up around plants?
Perhaps some type of earthen magic cast by some of these dark shrine wizards, I'll bet.
He says with a sneer on his face as he kind of hacks through the last bit of plants in his way.
Great Lord Rinkaz, this is in line with what you would expect to find here, yes, Dark Shrine?
Yes, this is a sign. This is a lesson for us to learn that the trials ahead are...
Or what? Cut out.
Cut out at the end.
I said this is a lesson for us to learn that the trials ahead are great. We must be wary of what is up ahead.
And learn it we shall, great naked lizard.
You see Kunk sheathing his machete. Up ahead, you can see in a somewhat of a clearing what looks to be an area that looks like a lakeshore. Kunk turns, raising a gif eyebrow towards Rinkaz.
Did you find one of the gods, Rinkaz?
One of the gods.
You sound much more religious than you did before.
Oh no, see, you have followed into my steps, my son. Don't soon. You will be able to follow.
Right.
I think he's having a psychotic break, something like PTSD. This was involved with his past being a slave. Just leave him be.
He
No hurry.
fishes around in what looks to be a knapsack at his waist. He reaches a hand in and pulls out a near a fistful of what looks to be some tobacco product and says,
You want some of this?
Me? Rinkaz.
Any of you guys?
Oh, never touch this stuff. It kills you, you know.
Oh no, I'm fine. Thank you, consumer of snacks.
It's
He-
it's like tobacco. Or-
he shifts some in his mouth as he packs it back in his pack and goes,
You slack-jawed maggots. This stuff will turn you into a sexual Tyrannosaurus.
shoves it back in his pack.
I've seen our winged warrior turn into a Tyrannosaurus. So
My Tyrannosaurus days are behind me, thank you very much. I got a kid now.
yes, she will grow strong one day.
The rest of my group should be up ahead. He says, I don't understand what half of you guys are saying.
Nor do we half the time. Let's go.
Come in now.
Even Slunky doesn't know what he's saying. As you guys follow along the trail, there is a bit of a clearing. There's still a lot of overhanging canopy, but it does separate close to the shoreline here of this lake shore. The jungle parts as you guys kind of head out to this clearing to reveal a large hourglass-shaped lake. You guys can see that twin waterfalls crash into the farthest pool, which seems to be cradled between rocky cliffs. Closer to you as you guys are making your way, you kind of hear the sopping sound below you as you see the shoreline is kind of made up of these oozy mud banks and freshwater ponds that encircle the lake. You notice now that there is at least more of a clearing than what was the thick jungle that you initially departed into. The trail splits into two paths. You can see that to the right of you or towards the east, somewhat in the distance, you can just make out what looks like smoke that seems to coil into the sky from a massive blaze that seems to be hidden behind the trees. And then to your left or to the west, you're able to see not too far out, sort of curving around to the western side of this lakeshore, you see what looks like a hut built on stilts over the lake. As you guys are peering around, you finally see what looked to be, as Kunk raises a hand, towards them, and a torch is raised in the air. You see a group of other characters in the distance beginning to head your way. As they approach, you see now that there seems to be a few of them. There is a gif of similar size and make to Kunk, although without the adorned helmet. There is a very large and relatively well-suited, although armored, gif that, despite the general tallness of the gif, this one seems to still tower over both Kunk and this other one by a good foot or so. You also see, following along, torch in hand, what looks to be a tabaxi, and close by, held by the hands with rope, tying her hands at the wrist, holding on and kind of pulling her along from the tabaxi behind, is what looks to be like an elf, although she has a much more wild nature to her look. And I'll move these characters up out of your guys' token stuff so you can see them a little bit better.
Nice.
So she looks like a prisoner?
She is being led by what looks like a rope tied around her, or pretty tightly around her wrists, the other end being pulled by this tabaxi. You see Kunk hail the others.
Good to see you guys again. This group of mine, Ras, this is the Wyld Tycoons.
He points at the well-adorned, very tall gif. The gif steps up and says,
Hail. Are you guys friends of Kunk here?
Oh, yes. We go back.
Absolutely.
Well, that's unexpected, but glad that there's more of you. The name is Ras Cole, but most just call me Rask. I'm the leader of the team here.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. It seems our goals may at least partially align for the time.
Greetings.
Greetings.
he points his curved blade that kind of sits at his shoulder over to the others and says,
The one next to Kunk is Murok.
and you see the gif of similar size to Kunk just kind of shake his head and throw a hand up to greet yourselves. And finally he points his blade over the tabaxi.
That's Spots.
He says, the tabaxi, you can kind of tell she has a bit of a feminine form, kind of looks over you guys and just says nothing and kind of goes back to looking at the rest of the group.
Whoa.
And the person in chains?
Uh-huh.
Oh, this one here, how much do they know, Kunk?
Kunk turns and says,
They seem to have come here wanting to help find the ambassador. They're wild nuts, and as far as I remember, they're good at what they do. I suppose
we are.
they could lend a hand. We are split up from the rest of us.
Rast turns you guys and says,
Yes, our group was initially 7 strong. We were making our way through, trying to find the ambassador. There was an original party of pioneers sent here to find her. However, they disappeared.
Kunk turns to you guys and then back at Rast and says,
I think we found them.
Yes. Corpses.
Dead.
Rast says.
Indeed. Tied up, strung up by the jungle itself, it would seem.
Jungle itself? You hear Murok say.
According to them.
They turn to one another, Murok and Spots, and kind of laugh a little bit under their breath. Rast says,
Poor bastards. Well, now I can understand The pioneers originally sent that team out here, but lost contact with them. We're a mercenary group by hand, although we work with the factions, so they knew that we had a bit more lay of the land around these parts of the Celestial Cradle, so they hired us to come down. You see the Dark Trine, I don't know if you're familiar with them.
A little too familiar.
Specifically the Scroll, they're orc-like in nature, though a bit more coordinated. They
Smart.
seem to have been hunting this ambassador themselves. We, while searching for her, ran into an incursion of them at one of the villages nearby. We fought them off, trying to save the local tribespeople as much as we could. Something happened in the village, and a fire swept the place up. We had to split our teams up. One of us was pulled into the jungles. We weren't sure what exactly got a hold of him. We went to go in and check it out. That's when we found this one over here,
He says, pointing his blade over at the wild-looking elf. The elf turns and almost hisses back at Ras and says,
Oh. Can we compete the... What language is that?
None of you guys recognize this language.
Oh my.
Enviti, are you wearing your helm of comprehend languages?
Yeah, it's basically the cowl on my cloak.
that's
so yeah.
Okay. And what does that do?
Helm of comprehend language gives me an at-will comprehend language, and for the duration, you understand the literal meaning of any spoken language that you hear. You also understand any written language that you see, but you must be touching the surface on which the words are written.
So
It takes
you
about
can
1 minute to read text.
Okay. So you can use this, it's just not always turned on then.
It's an at-will use of the helm of
Gotcha.
comprehend language that I have.
So she kind of turns back at Ras and spits out something in a language none of you particularly are able to understand. Ras just shakes his head.
I have a feeling we caught her red-handed. She didn't seem to be allied with any of the people for the village. Perhaps some type of wild tribe who may have allied themselves with the Scroll. I have a feeling that she helped them pull one of our members into the jungle brush. We've been searching for the rest of them ever since so that we could regroup, though the rains aren't helping any.
He says, kind of pointing his blade up to the skies.
Did she have any kind of weapons or magic things with her?
A bow, you hear Spot say.
A bow, huh?
Nearly shot me in the leg.
I haven't known many indigenous folk to ally themselves with the Trine.
That may be true, but I figured we'd keep her along with us just in case she tries any other tricks. Though it's difficult understanding anything she says.
Well, Enviti, you can, right?
Yeah, if I'm ready for it, like now.
Well, good boy, can you talk to her?
I can't necessarily talk to her, but she can talk to me. Can I say in Elfish or Elfish to the prisoner, what do you call yourself? And see if she recognizes what I'm saying.
Make a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Persuasion
Oh,
at disadvantage.
Jason, you're breaking our balls here.
I'm just playing as I would.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the weird.
My God.
Enviti and talking to girls. Name a more iconic duo.
Your ears are pretty. Shit.
You look smart.
Do you speak for a platinum piece? Give me a D10,000 roll, please.
Enemy nosebleed.
5737.
5737. Thank you.
This
One
is
and
a-
a two.
This is a nightmare from which there is no awaking.
Prophet of light, what does the ancient of this land say?
It sounded wonderful. I need to study the teachings more.
Nothing particular seems to happen right now. As you say this, Enviti, she simply looks you up and down with a scowl on her face and a bit of a sneer and says nothing.
Yeah, she's pretty pretentious.
Ras says,
Look, if we don't find anything out, we'll let her go. But I'd rather have her with us instead of having her plan another ambush.
You don't know that she plans an ambush, though.
We don't. But keeping her next to us while we hunt for the ambassador will ensure that she doesn't if she ever planned to do it again.
Well, what if they're also fighting the Dark Trine, and we are just making enemies here?
Well, I don't think one is going to hurt all of them that much.
You don't know if this one's like the chief of something.
Well, let's play it by ear. You know, they're right. She could be in league with the Trine.
She nearly shot me in the leg, Spot says.
What were you doing?
Trying to stab her with my blade.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Murok laughs a little bit.
I would. Do I see anything that could be like a spell casting implement on her that they wouldn't have known to take because it wouldn't be a weapon to them?
Give me a perception check at disadvantage.
Can I assist on this one to make it even?
Okay, that's fair. So just a straight roll then.
That's
Yeah.
10.
You, at least seeing what she has on her now, you notice that most of her outfit is largely made up of like just what looks like twigs and underbrush that has actually been crafted into a suit. She has very long elvish ears that extend out to the sides, longer than the most typical elf that you generally see. Two natural forming horns on her head, and a mohawk of spiky, kind of almost resembling leafy leaves that extend up in this greenish look on her head.
Have we done a nature check on her to see what exactly she is?
Not yet, no.
Can we?
Sure. You don't see anything implement-wise on her, Aesop.
I'll aid Glace on that.
Okay.
Since I'm good at nature now.
That's gonna be, what am I, nature? That's an 11?
With
Oh, and
advantage?
GD.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was with advantage.
Oh, and
I rolled low.
Sweet summer child.
Before we figure out what happened, if you'll roll me a D10,000 in V.
I don't think this is right.
It's like
This
the
doesn't
most-
seem right.
The most
It
we have
doesn't.
done.
It doesn't.
Jason definitely paid off full 20.
I did.
3,000.
If I could.
46.
Fuck, if I could. 3,046, alright.
Yeah. Like I said, she
Celestial
looks she looks smart.
Celestial voice, have you seen this creature before?
Glace, you can definitely tell she's of some type of elvish descent, but the more, not necessarily feral, but just wild nature of her form, you're unsure what sort of lineage she may have come from. And Vidi, with your natural check, you went to school and studied plenty of varieties of different humanoids and the ancestors of creatures in some of your classes. This looks like probably, although you don't know the exact species of elf, this looks like probably some type of elvish creature who may have probably grown up in the wilds here and just over time adapted their biology, adapted to the nature around them, giving them a slightly more wild look to them.
Yes.
You get the sense from your natural 20 check that although you don't immediately recognize the language that she said before, that it is probably a local language that she shares with whatever group that she's accompanied with.
Great Scaled One. It appears that this one came from our family tree.
Mm. So they are native.
Yes.
I think
Probably
you guys-
indigenous folk.
Well, what's more important than this one here,
Ras says,
is hunting the ambassador and then finding the rest of our group.
Indeed. We would like to help you with this ambassador thing.
Very well. If Kunk finds you trustworthy, I suppose having an extra set of numbers while we hunt down the rest of our unit wouldn't hurt.
Have a more morale.
Certainly. We were hoping to meet here so that we could figure out where to go next.
Is this your hut? Did you build this?
No, we are not native to this area. Although we've gathered intels, a group of mercenaries that we fly around the Twixt together. We have a little bit of know-how around the area, but we're not from this place. I'm not sure what this hut is about,
he says, kind of pointing his blade that way.
I walk up to the elf lady, and I point to her.
She kind of steps back a little bit as you approach.
And I point to her, and then I point to the hut.
She watches your finger and then looks over at the hut and looks back and kind of just stares you up and down. She says, throwing her head back.
Did that mean anything, Enviti? Did she just curse at me?
Possibly, but I don't think that was words.
What does this hut look like?
A hut is in the distance. It's not terribly far away. A small trek towards the curving side on the western end of this lakeshore. You can see, although it's a little difficult to see, there kind of looks to be some what looks to be upturned canoes that rest on the muddy shore nearby. There seems to be other things adorning the walls of the small hut or shack that kind of sits over the lake here, as small walkways kind of built out to it from the muddy lake shore. But you're not exactly sure what is on the outside walls, but you can see the upturned canoes nearby.
Have you all investigated that hut yet? Could be this young lady's home.
No, not yet. It's a good start, I suppose.
Ras says.
Might also be a good place to rest if need be.
Yes, we were thinking the same thing. Rescue the ambassador and perhaps wait out the rain. It'd make finding the rest of our group much easier.
Don't have to deal with the mud that way.
Agreed.
Marok says.
Let's check it out.
Well, then let's go, Spot says, kind of pulling at the rope that's bound around the hands of the elf. You guys begin making your way over there. As you begin heading along the bank, trying your best to kind of pull your feet out of the muddy lake shore, sometimes having to take a second to dislodge a foot, you're able to approach this hut a little bit better. You get the sense now that you're closing in on it that this hut probably belonged to a fisherman. You can now see, Glace, those things that were a little difficult to see before are actually nets that are spread over the sides of the shack and the wooden pier. And now you can see clearly the upturned canoes that rest on the muddy shore. There does look to be a window at the side of the shack and a door that sits along the walkway as it makes its way towards the shack, but it looks very dark inside from what you can tell on the outside.
I can cast dancing light.
Good idea.
How about I reach in my bag and pull out the mechanical bat, activate it. If I just have him go take it.
Yes.
So,
The bat or the owl?
the bat, because I can see in the dark, I think.
Let's take a look here.
Blind sight.
Okay. You take a second to familiarize yourself with the bat. There is a clockwork controller in hand that has sort of like a viewport that you can look into. And as you send the bat out towards the hut, you're able to put it up to your face. You can see what looks to be a surrounding area, probably made out of some type of mechanical echolocation from the bat. It's a lot easier to see the surroundings through the bat's vision, although the colors are definitely muted. The bat begins to make its way over to the shack. Where do you have it fly to?
So, like, I'm imagining, like, it's just a square shape at the end of a pier, so I'll fly it up, like, on next to the pier. So
Okay.
kind of, like, in line with the deck level, so it's kind of out of sight. And then
All right.
swoop it up to, like, the first window that it can get close.
The mechanical bat lands its metallic claws at the edge of the sort of surface of the window here and kind of peers through the rain-stained glass. It's dark inside. You can see within what looks to be a small shack. You can see what looks to be like a what are those? A clear term that I can clearly forget. They're the things a hammock. You can see a hammock inside, a number of poles leaning up against one side of the wall. What look to be a couple crates, one of them open, and you can see what probably look like some type of fishing equipment inside. Have your bat make a perception check for me to try and see anything out of the blue. With its dark vision, you don't have disadvantage, I'm assuming. Or would you say you don't? Your bat radar.
That's a wisdom check, right?
Yes.
Perception is, yeah.
11.
You see a shape shifting behind some of the crates within, but are unable to ascertain what exactly it is.
There's something
You
in there.
hear the creaking of wood through the bat's senses inside.
It's heavy enough to move. I don't know what it is. I can't get a good light on it. But it's just the one form, you said?
You currently only saw what looked to be one thing moving through the shadows.
And it was
Though its shape
looking
and
like
its shape and size was difficult to make out.
So I get any sense of, like, if it was trying to hide, or if it...
With an 11, you're unsure.
Okay. There's definitely something in there, but...
Well, we should move cautiously then. We don't know if it's hostile or not, but it's probably just another scared native.
They already know that we're here.
Maybe if we try approaching politely?
Only one way to find out.
Let's go.
Ras looks to the others of his group, most of them sporting torches, and looks to you guys and says,
Well, if you're really here to help us, we'll let you handle this.
Sure.
Yes, if it is a native, I doubt they would take kind to you coming up with little
Torches
Missy over there.
towards their house with one of theirs in chains.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay.
Glace like fixes her hair and like readies herself to meet somebody.
Do I have, like, how far is the hut from us?
you guys have a little bit of distance on it, so it's probably like 40 or so feet out.
I'm gonna step back and try and, like, set up with